Hello and welcome to this presentation of Mobile2Sage. My name is Ara Martirossian and I'm going to show you some of the key features of the product, and we'll focus on scanning and batch traceability in this presentation. So what is Mobile2Sage? Well, Mobile2Sage is a solution which allows you to share information with mobile devices either within your office or externally. Now, most companies will want to share things like their accounting information such as Sage and some of their other operational information, which will be held in things like office documents like Excel or Word, or they might have some contracts in PDF format. And a very simple requirement is to be able to share all of that with the non-accounting users, so people around the organization. Mobile2Sage allows you to do that in both directions, so you can share stuff from your office onto the mobile devices or PCs or Macs, but it also allows those devices to interact and allow you to enter information into Sage securely. It's a hosted solution and it can work on any version of Sage. So, what are the key features? Well, the most important one is that it's cross-platform. So not only does it work on a PC where Sage sits, but it can also work on a Mac or any iOS device like an iPhone or an iPad. And it also works in a browser. It provides some game-changing features, including full security, which we'll have a look at in a second. But also, more importantly, it provides you with a single interface to see all your data, and that's user tailorable. So there's no need to have a separate CRM or a customer relationship management piece of software or a separate document management piece of software. You can use the same interface to accumulate all of the information that might be in a CRM or a document management or Sage. Because you're going to be using iOS devices like iPhones and iPads, you then have the capability of using all the features that those devices enable you to have. So things like obviously photos or scanning or signatures, even GPS positioning. And the solution is both online or offline, i.e. it works with or without an internet coverage. So you can synchronize data when you're not in coverage, when you're back in the office or in a Wi-Fi hotspot. So what kind of apps are there? Well, there are all sorts of apps out there that we have developed. Today we're going to look at the barcode scanning one as an example, but we've got things like web or iPad requisitioning systems to purchase orders, solutions for remote engineers. We've got food traceability systems, sales orders, purchase orders, quotations, all sorts of stuff, expenses, timesheets. So please feel free to have a look and try the solution out from our website, which is what we're going to do in a second, or contact us if you want something special. So what is the demo today going to do? Well, what I'm going to do is share a typical scenario in a small company. So I'm going to have some Sage data that I want to share with my iPad users, which might be on the road, like a salesman or something like that. I've got some PDFs in the office, which are details of price lists and invoices that I've raised out of Sage. I've got some pictures, some JPEG files, which are my stock images. And I've also got a very simple Excel spreadsheet, which I use in my office to keep track of everybody who calls in. And obviously those get logged and they get allocated to people for completion. I'm going to follow that out with a manual entry of a sales order using the iPad, which we can then import into Sage. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the camera on an iPad to actually scan in the product barcodes, and from which I'm going to create a product invoice to import into Sage. Now I'm going to do all of this from solutions we've released onto our website at the address at the bottom. So let's have a look at that together. Now, in terms of the information, this is the information that we're going to be sharing. So here is a folder full of the images to do with my products. Here's a folder showing all the invoices that I've raised out of Sage in PDF format. Here's a folder showing price lists, which are the contracted price lists for my customers per year. And finally, here's the Excel spreadsheet called calls.xls, which has got a nice simple columnar approach where I can just log customers, what they've called about, who it was assigned to, and so on. Now what I want to do is just look at one of my customers and see all of that information in one go. And I'm using bog standard Sage 50 with a customer list, with a product list, with invoices, and so on. Now, on this PC, I've also got my control panel. So this is my Mobile2Sage control panel. At the moment, you can see that it hasn't got any data in here. So what I'm going to do now is just bring across my iPad, which I've got over here. And we're going to do it from scratch. So all you have to do is on the iPad, go to Safari, and in there just type Mobile2Sage. And we're at the top of the list, and all you do is you click on that, and that will take you to the link that I had on my spreadsheet. And what we can do is then scroll down here and look at the key features of Mobile2Sage, and these are the facilities or the free trials that we've made available for you to have a play with. Now, the solution can work on a mobile device or on a desktop or a Mac. So on a mobile device, you need something called FileMaker Go, and you get that from the App Store. So just type in FileMaker Go, and these are free downloaded apps. Having done that, you can then use any of the solutions on the right hand side, and the one that we're going to use this morning is the top one, so I'm going to click on Mobile2Sage Scanning. What that will do is it will say, right, how do you want to use this? And I'm going to open this in FileMaker Go. There it is. It's now going to log in, and in a second it's going to ask me for a username and password. And the username for this demo is called Demo, and the password is Demo123. And I'm now going to log in, and as you can see, everything is empty. So on my mobile device here, on my PC, I've got nothing here because I haven't shared anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my iPad off screen for a second, and in here I'm now going to update all my information. So what the system will then do is it'll go and inquire in Sage and bring in the company data, the departments that are in Sage, the projects and the nominal codes that are in Sage. And here's the stock. So the stock's now come in and it's amalgamated it with the pictures that I've also uploaded. I've now got my customers, and my customers are showing their email addresses, also my suppliers, and finally I've also brought down all the invoices that have been raised out of Sage, and here's the Excel spreadsheet which has all my calls logged against it. And that's it. That's all the Sage and Office data successfully updated into my Mobile2Sage solution on my desktop. But as this is a hosted solution, it is then immediately available to me on my iPad, which we'll go and have a look at. But a couple of key things. So this information is all Sage related. The stock stuff is Sage and image related. The invoices, I can just click onto a particular invoice and I can have a look at it on the right hand side. These are my contracts. So these are the price list contracts that I have had in my folder, and these are my calls that we've looked at. And all of these are available for immediate export into Excel. So I can just click my export button, there it is, and I can go and do whatever I want with it. But if I wanted to see how one of my customers were doing, I could then just go into the customer record and just look at that individually. So here's the customer A1D001. If I go to the end, I'm looking at the invoices relating to that specific customer. If I look at, let's close that off. If I want to have a look at the calls they've made, these are all the calls they've made, who it was assigned to, whether it's completed. And if I want to, I can then just press the I black button on there and see what it was all about. So that's it on my desktop through the control panel. If I now go and bring my iPad back, there's my iPad. So if I have a look, here we go. The departments are now there, the projects, nominals, stock records, and that's now going to go and bring back the product codes and all the images, customers, suppliers, again the invoices, and I can have a look at a particular invoice, click of a button. Here are my contracts, and finally the calls that have been made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the customer record, and I'm going to just process a very simple sales order. So these are sales orders that I've done. Let's just delete a few of these. Right, okay, so what's the time? 16:46. So there's 16:46. Ara 16:46. What am I going to do? I'm going to sell some boards. How many of those am I going to have? The customer wants 5 of those, and I'm going to charge him £20 for that. And he wants them in red, but he also wants them in blue, and he also wants them in yellow. But the blue one isn't board type 1, it's board type 2, and that one is books. So there you go. So I've now got a 3-line sales order that the customer has placed, and I need to import that into Sage, which I'll do in a second using my control panel. But more importantly, what I can also do is scan some invoices using barcodes. So if I now go back to my website, what I've done is I've taken, and again this is available to you, I've taken the bog standard Sage products and I've created a product catalog from it. And this is what a product catalog looks like. So what I've done is I've taken the product code, product description, but I've also added some batch information to it, which allows me to have quantities or weights, as well as use by dates and things like that. And I've also put a little picture on there as well. So what you can then do is have that in a QR code, which is a little black square in the bottom right hand corner. And what you would do is in your products, you'd basically have a label that looks like that, and you'd stick it either onto the outside of the product or the wrapping or packaging or something like that. So let's go and actually just scan a product invoice from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan now, and I'm going to add a new scan for A1 Designs. So all I do is I've set this up in a kind of EPOS mode, so it automatically does a scan, adds it, moves on to the next one, adds it, moves it on to the next one. So I'm just going to create a 6 or 7 line product invoice. That's it. Okay, I've done that. So now let's say I want to send this as a dispatch note to a customer. So all I need to do now is press the email button in the top right, and having done that, it will then ask me who do I want to send the email off to. So I know by default I'm going to send it off to the email address on the customer record, but I know for this particular one, Debbie also wants a copy of it. So I'm just going to add that in. So I've got 2 ad hoc ones for this delivery address, but I've also got one from the customer. There you go. So those are the 3 addresses for dispatch 5730 or order acknowledgement 5730, whatever you decide to call it. And I'll just say OK to that. So that's now gone. So let's go and have a look at it on our control panel. Let's move the iPad off screen. And here I am on my control panel, and if I go and have a look at the sales orders, because again it's hosted, everything is available immediately to me on the control panel. So let's say I now want to import that sales order. Let's go and have a look at what the last sales order number is. It's number 7. So literally with just one button, that 3-line order has now been imported into Sage. And if I go into Sage, refresh the screen, there's number 8. And here are the 3 items that were red, blue, and yellow. Nice and simple. Okay, that's fine. So I can then just process that sales order in as the way I would do that as normal. But let's go and have a look at the product invoices. So here's my scanned invoices, and I can see some have been imported, but these ones at the bottom have not been imported yet. So again, exactly the same thing. So if I go and have a look over here, my last product invoice was 85. I'll press one button. Now, Sage 50 has no traceability capabilities, so it can't do batch control or sequence number tracking or anything like that. But my iPad does, and my barcodes do. So if I now go in here and have a look at the latest invoice, which is 86, and open that up, these are all the ones that we just scanned. But if I open one of these up, I can immediately see that I've got the batch number, the dispatch date, the use by date, and details of the scan on the product invoice, including the full barcode at the bottom. And now that the product invoice is in here, I can then just do what I would normally do with Sage. So all I do is I close that, press one button, and that invoice can now immediately be invoiced and emailed out to the customer, which we'll go and have a look at in a second. There you go. It's now been fully emailed out. Now, let's go and have a look at my inbox and see what's come through. Here we go. So that's the order acknowledgement that's come through, showing me details of everything that I scanned through on my barcode. And here is the invoice number 86. And as you can see in this particular invoice, I've got full batch and dispatch information on here. Really, really simple. So I've now immediately added traceability to Sage 50. Now if I go back to my control panel, I can even go and do a batch inquiry. So let's say for argument's sake, I need to do a product recall. I can just sort by any of these columns. So sort ascending or descending. Let's say there was a problem with batch 12307. I can very quickly go in here and say 123007. I can see immediately which customers receive that particular batch, and I can then just do a single button Excel export. I can then use that to go and do my product recall and customer details on the back of that. Very, very simple. So the key benefits are it's incredibly quick and easy to set up. It's very cost effective, and there are free trials available from our website for the apps that we've just looked at. Most importantly, it works with any version of Sage, so you don't need to upgrade. You can use the one that you've currently got, and you can then share data safely and securely with your staff, with your customers, with your suppliers, and you can then start using barcode scanning using any iPhone or iPad. So what should you do next? Well, please feel free to go and do the live trials from the website as demonstrated in this video. Feel free to also look at our YouTube channel for our other products and solutions, and feel free to contact us to set up any of these free trials for you. Finally, it's very, very easy to set up prototypes. So if there's something else that or other custom app or other functionality that you're interested in, please feel free to contact me and discuss your requirements. Thank you very much for your time and interest in Mobile2Sage, and look forward to hearing from you in due course. Thank you.